Hi, I'm Henry.
Hi everyone, and I'm Maureen.
Welcome to Happy Workplaces podcast, the show where we explore what it really takes to create joy, meaning and freedom at work. So Kim McCabe, founder of Rights for Girls on our Level 7 programme, an organisation dedicated to supporting girls through one of the most important and often overlooked transitions in their lives.
Oh, I'm looking forward to speaking with Kim.
Absolutely.
Also, for the fact that she's been on the Level 7 apprenticeship programme, but also she's an entrepreneur.
Yes, absolutely.
From that side, away from like a local government, I'm intrigued.
So, how are you creating joy outside of work?
Well, Henry, the sun is starting to shine. The trees are full of bloom, and although I'm filled with joy with that, it's the hay fever system.
Really?
Yes, hay fever season. So I'm joyfully, painfully, but joyfully enjoying spring. It's nice to just watch the new season come, start blooming in. I'm looking forward to being outside more.
Yes. Very nice.
So what's been giving you joy at the moment, Henry?
Well, I had a Seder with all the family. So we were gathered last night, like Jews all over the world, to celebrate an event that has come to symbolise humanity's passion for justice and freedom. The liberation of the Jewish people from slavery in Egypt, more than 3,000 years ago.
Wow. And how was that celebrated, Henry?
It was celebrated in the Seder. We had lots of dishes and things like that.
Lovely. Where was my invite, Henry? Okay.
So, Kim McCabe is the author of From Daughter to Women, a parenting guide praised for its wise and practical support through the teen years. A child development expert featured on BBC and Sky News, Kim is also the founder of Rights for Girls CIC, an organisation dedicated to making grown-up kinder for girls and saner for parents. With warmth, clarity and decades of experience, Kim helps adults recognise that they hold the responsibility and far more influence than they realise in collectively raising grounded, resilient children. Kim is currently developing a new programme, See Me Go, to tackle the crippling rise in children's anxiety. So, Kim, for those who don't know your work at Rights for Girls, what is it and why did you start it?
What it is basically we just want to make growing up for girls safer and kinder and better supported. So we create programs and we train women to run girls groups, but it's preventative work. We don't wait until there are problems. Right. We hope to preempt it. And we're training women to become the woman that they needed in their life when they were 11.
Wow.
Because girls don't just suddenly become anxious. I mean, statistics are scary. 1 in 4 of our 14-year-old girls are clinically depressed.
Wow.
Really?
That's hundreds of thousands of girls. That's actually why I'm developing this new program, See Me Go, because I want to address this massive uptick in anxiety in all of our children, girls and boys. But why did I start it? Well, I have to say that I didn't find growing up easy. And I say I probably spent the best of the next 20 years recovering from my childhood. So I want it to be different for girls growing up today.
And what is See Me Go?
See Me Go is a short session that we're going to take into schools to give children real, practical, use right now tools for managing their anxiety. Because it's become crippling. We've got massive school refusal, children who are having problems with their friendships, with their ability to engage with their education. It's something that needs addressing immediately. And I think there are many different programs for doing it. So I don't want to add yet another program like the others. I'm looking to do something that is different in the sense that goes to the heart of the problem and that the children themselves are equipped immediately to know what to do to manage their anxiety. It's not going to make it go away, but they'll be able to work with it.
Okay.
Sounds fabulous. And I think you're right. There's been so much in the news talking about this. So it's actually coming to light. So it's great that you've got something there that we can actually start implementing in our schools straight away.
And I think in the workplace, I've been talking to employers recently, and it's not just our children. A lot of young people are coming into the workplace with huge problems with their anxiety and their ability to show up in person and to be reliable and to believe in themselves. So I don't think this is just a problem of our children, but certainly if we work with the children, we'll be taking care of the future generations.
But it's really interesting that you say that, because sometimes we talk about our child's self that shows up. So I can imagine that also some of these anxieties still show up in our adult self. relating it to leadership, how does that show up in our leadership styles or behaviour?
Oh my goodness, all the time. What leader doesn't get triggered by things that happen in the workplace? No, and when we're triggered, are we in our adult self? Oh no. It's the child part in us who was bullied years ago, or who people didn't listen to or take seriously, that gets triggered in us as adult leaders. And if we lead from that place, we're not going to lead well. But we need to take care of that part of ourselves because it's there. It's alive and kicking. And if we don't give it our attention, it will just kick harder.
So what was your leadership style before this Level 7 programme, which you did, and what wasn't working?
At Rights for Girls, we're all women, and it was a very collaborative, circle-based type leadership, lots of holding, lots of support. I really wanted to balance the feminine way of leadership with the more traditional masculine ways. It wasn't that I wanted to discard those, but I just wanted to create a sense of balance. But I was an accidental entrepreneur. I didn't set out to become the leader of the organisation. What I realised is I wasn't really identifying with that role of leader. I didn't realise actually that I did know what I was doing, but I didn't have confidence in myself as a leader. And in actual fact, I'd have to say I would never have signed up for a management leadership course unless it was like yours, because I needed it to be something that already matched the way that we wanted to manage things at Rights for Girls, that was collaborative, that was self-managing, that was non-hierarchical. And I didn't realise that that was out there, and it is.
What did you think you was going to get initially before you came onto the programme?
Well, I thought I'd probably need to wear a suit and appear a lot more official than I was, and know stuff, and be able to know all those acronyms, KPIs and KSBs. And yes, I did struggle with those things. I didn't have the language. And I was alongside people who'd been in business for many, many years and knew what agile meant and had a lot more theory behind them. But in actual fact, I was able to be there as myself. I was able to be there and learn what I needed to learn alongside other people who were very different, some of them, and had very different skills and qualities to those that I had. And we learnt from each other as well as learning from the programme.
Nice.
And what was the biggest mindset shift you experienced during the programme?
I'd have to say it was probably, I used to think that I had to do it all and that it was all down to me and the organisation couldn't manage without me and I had to hold everybody and I couldn't step away, otherwise everything would collapse. And of course, that's not true. And actually, it's not healthy if an organisation is being run as if that's true. So I learned not only did I need that for my own well-being, but the organisation needed it for me to be able to step away and be sustainable and not need me there, not need any individual person, that actually the organisation was set up so that we were sustainable and collectively were profitable and well run.
Was there a particular thing that made you think, oh my goodness, that you're getting in the way, or this is what I need to do to get out of the way, to be more of a leader?
Yes. Our board of directors did a survey of all of our stakeholders, both within the organisation, because we've trained hundreds of women. So asking all the women that we've trained who then work under our umbrella, and families and parents that we've worked with, a number of different questions about Rights for Girls. And one of the things that came out of that is people were conflating Rights for Girls with me. And if I'm the organisation, then the organisation is going to be really fragile. We shouldn't make ourselves indispensable. It's just like parenting. You know, if your children don't think they can manage without you, then that's not good parenting. And if as a leader, the organisation is confused with you as the leader, that's not healthy either. And then actually there was this moment when there was a woman who I had co-created some of our training with, and she died. She died.
Oh my goodness.
And it just made me realise how vulnerable we are if we rely on particular personalities. Of course, we rely on each individual within an organisation, but the organisation has to have a life and a story and an energy of its own that doesn't depend on any one person. So I think those are the sorts of things that made me realise that I mustn't be that one person.
Right. So did anything not work when you tried to implement these ideas?
Yeah. Definitely. I got very inspired when I was on the course, and I'm lucky because I have quite a small organisation and I have quite a lot of say in it. I'd learn something one day and put it into practice the next, or at least give it a go anyway. And so sometimes what didn't work is I was too eager and too quick. I'd learn about empowerment and I'd suddenly kind of give people empowerment. And some people, whilst they say they want autonomy, when you actually give it to them, they seem not to want it. They seem to want certainty. Instead, they fear the responsibility. And what I learned was that actually, when we empower people, we actually have to make it feel safe to take up that power.
Yes.
We have to make it safe to make mistakes. It has to be okay to make mistakes, including me. It has to be okay for me as well to make mistakes. And so actually we start every meeting at Rights for Girls. We have a number of things we do, but one of them is that we all share what we've learned that week from something that went wrong.
Oh, right.
So that essentially we are owning our mistakes, we're celebrating them, we're sharing them, we're not trying to hide them, we're not trying to cover them up, and we're creating a culture where mistakes are seen as essential for learning.
Wow.
Do you have a story about a mistake that you may have done as a leader that you could celebrate?
Oh my goodness, I've made so many mistakes. I think a lot of my mistakes are around my misconception about what a leader is. I think I thought that a leader has to be kind of capable and competent and in control and calm. And so in order for people to feel held and supported and guided and well led, but what that meant was that people thought I was unreal. So I became unapproachable. People weren't coming to me with their problems because it was almost like they never saw that I had any problems. And so they didn't feel it was okay for them to have problems. So what I've had to learn is to own up to when actually I'm being really distracted because something's going on in my family that actually means I can't bring myself to my professional work today because actually I'm just completely distracted by something that's going on with one of my children. And of course, once I started letting people know that that's what was happening, instead of covering it up, I'd take my child to hospital and then to do a Zoom call from the hospital corridor without anyone ever knowing that that's what I was doing. So it was when I started showing my own vulnerability, I think, so my mistake was trying to be perfect, trying to be this somehow totally capable, competent person. And actually that was a mistake. And I've learned to be more human. And then that way, everyone else can be more human too.
Love that. Thank you for sharing that, because I think that's one thing that's normally missed or taken for granted. So the vulnerability of a leader.
So what was the hardest to let go of as a leader?
My ego. I had this idea that I had to have all the answers and my standards were really high and people would think well of me for the work that I created and for, what I've done and all that we're doing for girls. And I'd get put up a bit on a pedestal and I believed them. And actually, I think the hardest thing to let go of is that I'm no better than anyone else in the organisation. I don't deserve anything more. I need to have the same standards for myself as others. The hardest thing to let go of was to let myself be human, let myself be just an ordinary everyday person who was doing her very best and would sometimes mess up massively, and that I could allow myself permission to do that. That then didn't mean, oh, well, what are you doing then? What on earth do you think you're doing leading this organisation? What do you think you know about business? It's like I could go down that route if I liked, and I often did, but I don't anymore. I really try hard not to, because that doesn't serve me, certainly, but it doesn't serve anyone else either.
So it goes back to what you were saying earlier about that vulnerable, not trying to be perfect, so just being human.
Oh, but I want to be perfect. And I want everyone to like me. And that's something else, as a leader. People aren't always going to like you. And that's uncomfortable. And so you need to have good people around you, whether it be in the workplace or in your life, people who know you, like you, care for you, so that you can do the hard things of leadership, so that you can do the things that people aren't going to like you for. And actually, we were talking about the inner child before, it's the little me that wants everyone to like me. I don't need everyone to like me, but if I'm not careful, that little person inside me wants to be perfect, wants to be liked, wants to never make a mistake. And I make mistakes all the time. And lots of people in the organisation don't like some of the decisions that we make.
My little person came up and said, yes, what do we like? Okay, being on this program, it's giving you lots of tools, a different mindset. So if you've gone in making these changes in the organisation, so as you're approaching a new way of being as a leader, what sort of things did you start to implement? And initially, what wasn't working?
I put a lot of things into action very quickly. So we had the pre-approvement process and we had self-managed teams, and I did 10 at 10, so 10 minutes on a Friday. It was sort of like an open door, and the sort of how we structured our meetings suddenly became completely different and people identifying their roles. And I think what didn't work is I went too fast. And I scared people and I didn't take the time because not everyone else was on the course. So I was getting all this backup from what I was learning, what I was reading, what I was listening to, what I was studying, talking to my colleagues, my peers on the program. So I was all bought in and eager and enthusiastic, and then I'd bring it in. And of course, it was into the context of people who had possibly been managed or been in an organization which was more traditionally organized. And I think it freaked people out. I think sometimes I was too transparent too quickly. People didn't want that level of openness without first of all getting the kind of psychological safety in place. So it created some anxiety, which damaged some of the trust. I had to go back. I had to take steps back and give more of the understanding of why I was doing what I was doing, how I felt it would work. And of course, with everything, I would involve people in how do we do this at Right for Girls? So here's the idea, here's the theory. How does it work here? So people would already be involved in us making it bespoke for our organisation. But I think I was asking so much of people, really.
Are you okay with it now?
I'm much better. I'm slower. I take time. I still get lots of pushback. Sometimes when things go wrong, I notice people want to go back to, well, look, what about if we had someone who led the whole thing? You know, people want to put a hierarchical structure in or, you know, so it's often when we're tested, when things are not going well, that people will want to revert to more traditional ways. And so we have to go back to, well, why are we doing it this way? Why do we believe this is actually healthier for us and as an organisation, but also all the people involved in the organisation and all the girls that we serve? Because, of course, we're modelling. We're hoping to run an organisation in a way that organisations will be run in the future, which is more empowering, more motivating, more fun, more friendly. We're going to make mistakes along the way. And I think what we have to be careful of is when we hit a hard edge, that we don't kind of then think, oh, it's not working because of how we're trying to do it, but to have confidence in why we're doing something a particular way and just look at, well, okay, but what do we need to change to make it work better?
And saying that, because it now seems like learning from rushing in and going and applying all of these new tactics, tools, skills. And now there's a bit more understanding of bringing everyone along with you. What would you say are the changes that you're seeing within your team?
Oh, I love my team. That's part of it, actually. They know how much they matter, not just to the work, not just to Rights for Girls, but also to me personally. I think as a team, both as a team, but also as individuals, we've all grown into ourselves. We've created structures which have been initiated by any one member of the team and then iterated until it sort of works for us all. So we've got structures now that support our working well and support our freedom as well. And I think we understand now too the importance of us all being different, that we don't think in the same way, we don't work in the same way, but we understand each other much better now, that we need someone who dots I's and crosses T's, but we need someone who kind of thinks big, and that actually there's not one that's right or wrong, but they work really well together. And I think the biggest thing that we've all come to is we're more and more ourselves at work. We bring more and more of ourselves to the team, whatever that is on any one day, so that rather than trying to be something we're not, you know, you might have an idea, oh, I'm the marketing manager. Well, what does that mean? Well, I'm just me. I'm just me on this day. And each person, I hope we've created in this team this sense of that we all belong, we all have our place, we all have our value, but just exactly as ourselves. We don't have to change anything to fit in. And that's something that's actually part of the culture of our girls' groups. A really important part of the work we do with the girls, because particularly as they're going into puberty and adolescence, there's so much pressure to change yourself to fit in. And that starts, you know, when you're 8, 9, 10 years old. And if we can come in at that age and kind of go, no, who you are is unique and brilliant and perfect. You don't have to change anything about yourself to fit in here. You belong. You belong already exactly as you are.
Wow. So in Australia, there's a growing debate about restricting social media for under 16s. Are you thinking about that?
Well, they've done it. And I think we should too.
Yeah.
We should too. Actually, it's funny. I've come a long way on this. I've become more and more clear that I think smartphones should have no place in our children's lives. The evidence is overwhelming. It's like their anxiety is going up, depression's going up, their attention's going down, and it all coincides with the introduction of smartphones. It's not neutral technology. Their brains are still growing and developing. It's actually affecting how they're developing neurologically. It's shaping their brains, and it's harmful. We're handing children something that we don't understand, and we're calling it normal. So I think technology out of the classroom, out of the children's bags, out of their lives. Let them be children. Let them be imaginative and creative and grow and question. There's plenty of time to learn how to use the tech. They're very quick at picking it up. We don't have to prepare them for adult life by teaching them how to use AI or how to use a smart screen or whatever. They'll pick that up really quickly. Let's teach them how to learn. Let's teach them how to love learning and to know what it is that they want to learn. That's far more important.
Most definitely. So building on that, what are 2 or 3 things parents can do to help build confidence in their child, the girls, the boys?
Read my book. No, actually, the first chapter of my book is something I would love all parents to do. It's all about making one-on-one time for your child. I call it the parent-child date or the mother-daughter date if we're talking about girls. And a lot of parents say they do this already. And then you talk to the children and they say, no, they don't. It's not planned. It's not in the diary. It's not co-owned. It's not looked forward to like a date. And it's not one-on-one. And I think what that does for our children is it shows them that we enjoy spending time with them, that we're interested in them, that we develop lines of communication and rituals that adult and child, parent and child do together that forms a really good foundation to see you safely through the teen years where things do get rocky and parents are challenged, as they should be, by their children. But if you've got this in place, this one-on-one time with your child at least once a month, so that would be one thing. Number 2, help them find out what they love. Those are the people who live their best lives, the people who are doing what they love. And the best way to pass that on to our child is for us to do what we love. I grew up with a dad he's a professor of astrophysics. And for him, he hasn't retired. He's 85. And he said, why would I stop doing what I love? And I think, yeah, why not? So that would be my second thing. My third thing would be love them. Love them. I think too many parents feel they get confused in their job. They feel like they have to shape their child. They have to encourage them to work hard. We have to get the right good food into them. We have to give them lots of opportunities. Yes, all of those things can be good. But what I think some busy parents forget to do is really show your child that you love them just exactly as they are. They don't have to do well at school. They don't have to be interested in cricket or ballet or whatever it is you're bringing to them. They just have to be themselves. We don't have to optimize our children. We can just love them.
Oh, very good. Very good. And so what do you get from joy outside of your work?
Oh, outside of my work, I've got a sauna in my bedroom.
Really?
Yes. I bought it from the proceeds of my book. So I wake up in the morning and I just roll into the sauna and listen to podcasts. And that's how I start my day.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
The first. That's wonderful.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Thank you so much, Kim. That has been really insightful. It's just funny, just listening to you speak. I actually feel like the workplace is like a playground.
You didn't ask me actually about tips for a happy workplace. Do you want those?
Oh, yes. Okay. Tips for a happy workplace.
Okay, because this is something that's really dear to my heart, actually. The first tip is something that my grandmother taught me, which is, she said to me, pause before anything important. Take a moment before you do anything important. And I'm sure she said it to me because of the kind of child I was, because I would just throw myself headlong into everything. You've just heard about how I incorporated some of the things from the level 7 training into our business. So we pause every meeting at Rights for Girls. We take 2 minutes of silence.
Oh, right.
And we just enter ourselves so that we come into the present moment, not thinking about what we want from the meeting even, but just coming back to ourselves. The second thing I would say is we let everyone choose their own hours. And I think that makes a huge difference to people's lives. And then the third one I've said already is hope to make everyone feel like they belong exactly as they are, that they don't have to change anything about themselves to fit in, and that we embrace them and we celebrate and we benefit from them being exactly as they are, not having to try and be something that they're not.
Fantastic.
Oh, that's very good.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you for actually sharing those tips. So, Kim, can you let people know about your book or program, where they can find out more information?
My book is called From Daughter to Woman, and you can find it wherever you buy your books. And it's for parents of primarily girls, but not just girls, from the age of about 7 or 8 years upwards. It's to enable us to parent our children safely through their teens. Our programs you can find at our website, rightsforgirls.com. Rights for Girls is spelt RITES, as in rites of passage. Coming of age rite of passage is one that has been largely lost in our society, and yet it used to be the one that was most wildly given attention to because it was seen to be the best for society. So yes, you can find out about Girls Journeying Together and Girls.net on our website, rightsforgirls.com.
Lovely. Thank you.
Excellent. So how was that for you?
That was really, really insightful. And I'm touching the little child in me. The little girl was coming out to try and play as well.
Oh, really?
I think especially, and we've had speakers before that talked about what it is in the female world, being female. And again, it's one of those things of that, not even particularly a female, but as a child, wanting to be seen and heard. How that can actually carry on into leadership, into adulthood. But the insights that she was sharing in the sense of the lessons that she learned, being excited and then rushing in and trying to get everybody to do everything that she's learned and apply all of those tools. And everybody's just out like, what are you doing? But the key thing was that before rushing into things, she didn't actually create psychological safety, bring people along with her. She just ran ahead. Really, really interesting. I do like the way that about just being human.
Mm-hmm.
How about you?
On the staff meeting, they talk about what went wrong. That's very nice. And also on the parenting thing, help them find out what they love. Show your child that you love them. That's very nice.
And it's something as simple as that.
Yes.
Okay, Henry, before I get emotional about it.
Indeed. So, we have a 5-day productivity blitz on the 11th of May. It is 5 days, just 15 minutes at 8:45. And 15 minutes at 4:45. We have 10 items, Pomodoro, Eat 4 Frogs, 3210 on email, and this will make me more productive for the rest of my life.
I've heard that, and I must say that I've used Pomodoro, and I think that's excellent. It is one of my favourite tools to use.
Absolutely.
Alrighty. So with that said, if you want to find out more information, please go to our website, and the website is at happy.co.uk. And Henry, what's your pleases?
What's my pleases? Please put in reviews. And also find a colleague that will be interested in this podcast. So let us create joy at work.